We all know that Albert Einstein was the greatest genius in the history of science. He was so much of a genius that he could outsmart thousands of scientists alone. He understood things that we cannot even begin to comprehend. Einstein not only thought about these things but also made them easy for the whole world to understand. Albert Einstein was a physicist who developed the theory of relativity, E=mc², and photoelectric effect, among other things. He left the entire world stunned and perplexed by his laws of physics. It was for this reason that he was also awarded the Nobel Prize. People understood that he had an extraordinary ability to think and comprehend. Did Einstein have a special brain that was significantly different from ordinary people? He himself had an idea of this. Because of this, he did not want any research to be done on any part of his body after his death. Instead, he instructed that his body be cremated and the ashes be scattered. However, his fear came true when the same thing happened. On April 18, 1955, at Princeton Hospital, when Einstein died, an autopsy was performed to determine the cause of death. The doctor who came quietly took out Einstein's brain because he was curious to know if the brain of the world's greatest genius really had something special. Was the doctor who stole Einstein's brain Thomas Harvey? He was more interested in studying this special brain than his unknown companion. After a few days, when Princeton Hospital learned of Dr. Harvey's act, he had to resign from his job. But Dr. Harvey managed to obtain permission from Einstein's son Hans Albert and succeeded in uncovering the secrets hidden inside his father's special brain and bringing them to the world. The journey of this brain began on this day, and Dr. Harvey was a pathologist who only knew how to do post-mortem. This was only his thought that he would be able to research the brain of such a great genius. The condition was that Dr. Harvey had also resigned from his job at Princeton Hospital and from his duty as a pathologist. Einstein's brain, which he had already preserved, was taken to the city of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, where he took many photos of the brain. Then he cut it into 240 small pieces and preserved each piece in a separate jar, hiding them in his basement. This issue often caused arguments between Dr. Harvey and his wife. She would frequently threaten to take the brain and throw it away. One day, the argument escalated so much that the couple ended up getting a divorce. Dr. Harvey took the brain with him and moved to the city of Kansas, where he started working as a medical supervisor in a biological testing lab. In his free time, he studied Einstein's brain extensively. He quit many jobs over the years, traveling to different cities with the brain. However, Dr. Harvey was never able to conduct any significant research on Einstein's brain. In fact, his medical license was eventually canceled, and he had to start working in a plastic factory. It was then that he made a good decision for the first time. He decided to send different parts of the brain to the best neurologists around the world for detailed research. So he did exactly that. In 1995, 30 years after the brain was stolen, a study on Einstein's brain was published for the first time. After this, for the next 28 years, neurologists from around the world conducted many studies on this genius brain, and it was found that Einstein's brain was quite from a normal human brain in terms of the various regions of the cerebral cortex. It is important to know that the human brain is divided into two different hemispheres, each with its own unique functions. The left hemisphere of the brain primarily processes language and signal data from the right side of the body, while the right hemisphere of the brain controls the left side of the body. It is estimated that around 90% of people use their left hemisphere while speaking, understanding mathematical calculations or writing, while the right hemisphere is responsible for creativity, spatial awareness, art, and musical skills. It is important to note that if you are typing on a keyboard, or typing on a mobile phone, during this process, your left hand is responsible for typing some alphabets while your right hand is responsible for others. If you make a mistake while typing with your left hand, for example, you can correct it using your right hand. This is because the left hemisphere of your brain sends a signal to the right hemisphere to correct the mistake. In their research, Scientists have found that the corpus callosum plays a crucial role in the communication between the left and right brain hemispheres. Einstein had a particularly strong connection between his corpus callosum and his left and right brain hemispheres, which allowed him to imagine complex problems and situations. This connection also made Einstein's neurons flow more efficiently, giving him a greater mathematical processing power. Einstein was able to solve complex mathematical problems without the use of pen and paper, which amazed researchers at the time. This led to further research into the lining of the brain and its importance in neuron flow. Einstein's brain was found to have a greater number of neurons than the average person, particularly in the parietal and temporal lobes. Despite this, Einstein had difficulty memorizing simple math tables and had to rely on logical processes to master mathematical concepts. In school, he struggled with subjects other than math and science, leading his teachers to push him towards pursuing his interests in those fields. Einstein's passion for discovering the laws of the universe led him to publish 4 research papers that revolutionized the field of physics and earned him a Nobel Prize. His extraordinary brain and unique perspective on science have inspired many doctors and scientists to continue pushing the boundaries of human understanding. Even after his death, Einstein's brain was preserved in microscopic films for further study.